Dear students, in this video we are going to discuss about some good programming practices. Control constructs. Use only a few structured constructs rather than using a large number of constructs. Control constructs are conditional statements, if else, ladder if statement, switch statement, and looping statements, for, while, do while. These are control constructs. Use only a few control constructs. Go to statement. Actually, according to the structured programming, so we have to avoid a go to statement because it against the concept of structured programming, because it against the linear ordering execution. It works like a it works in a non-linear manner. So that's why we have to avoid go to statement. Only use when the alternatives are posed. Information hiding. Use information hiding as much as possible because it secures the data. Securing the data is most important in software engineering process. User defined types uh, use as much as possible to make easier programs, and enhances the understandability of the program. Nesting. Avoid heavy nesting of if then else, that means ladder if statement. Avoid heavy nesting. Module size, it should not be too large. Mm, try to avoid it. Try to avoid large programs. That means as much as possible try to avoid it. It should not be too large because it occupies more memory space and it takes more execution time also. Module interface, yes, that should be very simple. And robustness, yes, your code or your program should work in all the conditions. It should work on all the conditions. uh, it should work on all possible conditions, so that's why we have to handle the exceptional situations by using exceptional handling. By doing exceptional handling, so your program should work on all conditions. It should work for all conditions, so handle exceptional situations. It enhances the robustness of the program or code. Empty catch block. Most of the times, programmers include empty catch block to handle exceptions, so it's not a good practice. Uh, Always have some default action rather than empty. Rather than making it as empty, write some default actions. So it increases the readability of the program, and it gives more clarity on the code. Empty if statement while standards, it is a bad practice. Written from finally. Usually we use finally in the last stage, and a finally block executes at the end. So that's why it should not contain any written statement. Should not written from finally, because in object oriented programming, especially in a Java language, we use finally block at the end. That means it executes at the end. That means it executes before the termination of the object. So that's why finally block should not contain any written statement. Correlated parameters, obviously we should check the type compatibility. We have to check the type compatibility between the parameters, calling function and the called functions. We have to check the type compatibility between the parameters of calling functions and parameters of called functions. Yes, these are some good programming practices. Control constructs. Go to avoid go to statement. Use information hiding. Use defined types. Avoid A/B nesting. Module size, it should be moderate. It should not be too large. Module interface should be simple. Handle all exceptional cases to avoid abnormal termination of the program. Avoid empty catch block, empty while statement, if statement. It is a bad practice. Written from finally, should not written from finally, and check the type compatibility. These are all some good programming practices. Thank you.